Somewhere in central Iran, there is a mountain that looks exactly like every other mountain in the region. Bare rock, desert plateau, nothing on the surface to suggest what was carved inside it. Deep underground, behind blast-proof doors and reinforced concrete walls, sits one of the most sophisticated nuclear enrichment facilities ever built. The rock above it compresses at pressures that dwarf standard construction concrete. The world's most powerful non-nuclear bomb, the GBU-57 Massive Ordnance Penetrator, was designed for targets like this. On June 22, 2025, America used it in combat for the first time in history. Washington declared the mission a success. Days later, a classified Defense Intelligence Agency assessment leaked. It suggested the damage may not have reached as deep as officials were claiming. And while that debate was still playing out, Iran was already at work, roughly a mile from one of the strike sites, finishing a facility that sits inside a larger mountain, under harder rock at a depth no weapon currently deployed can confirm reaching. Fordo was the fortress America said it cracked. What comes next is the one it hasn't. To understand what Iran built next, you first have to understand what America was trying to destroy. The Fordo fuel enrichment plant sits near the city of Qom, carved into the Zagros Mountains, buried roughly 80 to 90 meters below the surface inside layers of limestone and dolomite. These are among the hardest sedimentary rocks geologists will encounter. Standard reinforced concrete typically withstands 5,000 to 10,000 pounds per square inch of compressive pressure, stronger than the concrete used in most skyscraper cores. Natural limestone and dolomite formations can exceed that figure substantially. They absorb and scatter shockwaves in waves that poured concrete simply cannot replicate. Iran told the International Atomic Energy Agency the facility can house up to 3,000 centrifuges. Before the June 2025 strikes, those centrifuges were enriching uranium at 60% purity. Traces of 83.7% enrichment were detected there, uncomfortably close to the 90% weapons-grade threshold needed to build a bomb. When Operation Midnight Hammer launched, 12 of the 14 MOPs were dropped on Fordo, 6 down each of the facility's 2 ventilation shafts according to General Kane's Pentagon briefing, and confirmed by Air and Space Forces magazine. A 7th B-2 dropped the remaining 2 on Natanz. General Kane explained that each bomb carried a uniquely programmed fuse set to detonate at a specific depth to maximize overpressure and blast effects inside the tunnels. The bombs hit exactly where they were targeted. Whether the blast reached the centrifuge halls deep in the mountain and permanently disabled them remains, as of this script, unconfirmed. And that question, answered or not, changed what both sides started building next. Building a facility at this depth is not a construction project in any conventional sense. Tunnel boring machines designed for hard rock advance roughly 5 to 10 meters per day through formations like this. Every meter of granite excavated produces several tons of spoil, material that has to be removed, transported and disposed of without drawing attention from satellite imagery or foreign intelligence services. Iran used IRGC-controlled front companies to procure the boring equipment, routed spoil removal through existing road networks under cover of surface construction activity, and disguised ventilation shaft installations as drainage infrastructure on the hillside above. The electrical systems, blast door frames, centrifuge support structures, and EMP-hardened Faraday shielding all went in last, after the mountain was already carved hollow. By the time any external analyst could identify what was being built from the surface, the facility was already deep enough that destroying it from the air had become a separate engineering problem entirely. America's answer to that mountain is a single weapon. Most reporting on the GBU-57 treats it as a near-invincible tool. The engineering reality is more specific and far more interesting. The Massive Ordnance Penetrator weighs 30,000 pounds and stretches over 20 feet in length. Its warhead packs more than 5,000 pounds of specialized explosive inside a casing of high-density Eglin steel alloy, engineered to survive the crushing forces of deep penetration before it detonates. The guidance system uses GPS-assisted inertial navigation, allowing each weapon to be programmed for a precise angle, heading, and fuse delay. Against soft earth and soil, the Air Force states the MOP reaches up to 200 feet. Against reinforced concrete, analysts at Jane's Information Services put that figure at around 60 feet. Against Fordo's natural limestone and dolomite, effective penetration drops further still, and the exact depth is contested because no one has been able to verify the result from the inside. That rock does not need to stop the bomb outright. It just needs to be deeper than the bomb can reach. At Fordo, it is. The sequential strike approach, dropping multiple bombs through the same entry point so each successive weapon travels deeper through already fractured material, is the current operational workaround. It's why 6 bombs went down each shaft at Fordo rather than 1. For scale, the total development cost of the GBU-57 program ran somewhere between $400 and $500 million. The B-2 Spirit is the only aircraft that has ever carried the MOP into combat, with each bomber able to carry 2 of the weapons internally. Despite early test drops conducted with a modified B-52 Stratofortress, the Stratofortress was never certified to carry the weapon operationally and would require significant modification to do so. If the most capable non-nuclear bunker buster America has ever built gets a fraction of the way through Fordo's rock, what happens when Iran builds something deeper? About a mile south of Natanz, there is a mountain called Ku-Ekolang Gazla. In Persian, that translates roughly to the mountain that looks like a pickaxe. Construction on a major underground facility inside that mountain began sometime around 2020. International inspectors have never been granted access. In June 2025, when American B-2s and Israeli aircraft targeted Natanz, Fordo, and Isfahan, Pickaxe Mountain was not struck. It has been active ever since. Satellite imagery from late 2025 showed the facility making substantial progress toward completion. In February 2026, fresh imagery captured something striking. Iran was actively pouring concrete over the tunnel entrances, adding reinforced headworks and pushing additional layers of rock and soil on top. Dump trucks and cement mixers were visible in the images. The IRGC was hardening this site in real time, while the current conflict was ongoing. The mountain above the Pickaxe facility stands at 1,608 meters above sea level. The mountain protecting Fordo, by comparison, reaches around 960 meters. ISIS President David Albright wrote in a formal assessment that Fordo is already viewed as so deeply buried that it will be difficult to destroy via aerial attack. The new Natanz site may be even harder to destroy. Analysts estimate the facility is being built to a depth of 80 to 100 meters beneath hard granite rock, a depth Iran reportedly selected with specific knowledge of the GBU-57's limitations. Approximately 400 kilograms of near-weapons-grade enriched uranium are believed to be associated with this facility and the surrounding complex. IAEA Director General Rafael Grossi publicly stated he had asked Iran about Pickaxe Mountain. Iran did not respond. On March 9, 2026, President Trump confirmed Iran had been working at another granite-protected site, going a lot deeper. Analysts confirmed he was referring to this facility. The facility is nearing completion. No weapon has yet been confirmed capable of penetrating the granite mass above it. For international inspectors, this is the most alarming data point in the current crisis. The facility most likely to already be operational is the one nobody has been allowed inside. The Telegan 2 facility sits within the Parchin military complex about 30 kilometers southwest of Tehran. It carries a long history tied to Iran's former Ahmad nuclear weapons development program, including high explosive experiments designed to simulate the detonation of a nuclear device. Israel destroyed the original structure in October 2024. Iran rebuilt it between May 2025 and January 2026. This time encased in a purpose-built concrete shell, then buried under layers of soil. The hardening was completed weeks before the current conflict started on February 28, 2026. On March 11, 2026, satellite imagery from intelligence firm Vantor showed 3 large, precisely spaced penetration points punched directly into the top of the facility. The IDF confirmed it had struck the Telegan compound. What weapon created those 3 impact points has not been officially confirmed by the United States military. The size and pattern of the damage was broadly consistent with what the GBU-57 left at Fordo and Natanz, though Israel's known bunker-penetrating arsenal tops out well below the MOP's weight class. The pattern this establishes matters regardless of which bomb was used. Each new strike confirms the ability to reach a target at a given depth. Each new facility Iran builds in response goes deeper. Iran's missile program is not just in bunkers, it's inside mountains. The IRGC has unveiled multiple underground missile cities in recent years, with commanders publicly stating they could reveal a new one every week for the next 2 years and still not run out. Typical depths run from 100 to several hundred feet, and mountain-carved sites have been reported to reach 1,500 feet in the most protected locations. Israel announced strikes targeting these sites in March 2026 as part of the ongoing air campaign. These facilities represent a specific and deeply frustrating problem. They're built to survive virtually everything while the missiles are inside. Internal rail systems move weapons between storage vaults and launch points. Multiple blast door exits are carved into the mountainside to allow operations to continue, even if one entrance is destroyed. There is a structural irony buried in all of this. These fortresses only work as fortresses while the weapons stay inside. The moment a ballistic missile has to exit a tunnel portal to reach its target, it becomes visible. The instant it surfaces, the protection ends. The mountain is only invulnerable until someone inside it decides to use it. In September 2025, the Air Force Lifecycle Management Center awarded a prototype development contract to Applied Research Associates, known as ARA, working in partnership with Boeing. Their assignment is the Next Generation Penetrator. The weight target alone tells you what kind of program this is. Under 22,000 pounds compared to the MOP's 30,000. That reduction is critical. The B-21 Raider, the Air Force's next-generation stealth bomber, is a physically smaller aircraft than the B-2, and it can carry a single MOP or a single NGP per sortie. That means the next-generation bomber delivers fewer weapons per flight than the platform it is intended to eventually support. More sorties would be required to put the same weight of ordnance on a target. The performance upgrades are designed to address exactly what Fordo exposed. The NGP will incorporate advanced fuse technology, capable of detecting hollow chambers inside rock and detonating at the optimally destructive depth rather than on surface impact. The guidance system is being engineered to reduce reliance on GPS, drawing directly on lessons from the Ukraine conflict, where GPS jamming significantly degraded precision munitions performance. A rocket-assisted propulsion component for standoff delivery from greater distance is also under evaluation, though that element remains in the assessment phase. The contract covers 24 months of prototype work. Full-scale testing is being funded through the fiscal year 2026 budget. Operational deployment is not expected before 2027 or 2028. Before that weapon exists, Pickaxe Mountain will be fully sealed. Iran has a window, and it is using every month of it. The honest answer is not alarming, and it is not reassuring. Iran is building faster and deeper than the weapon designed to stop it can currently reach. America's answer to that architecture is a prototype on a 2-year clock. The race between those 2 engineering programs is real, documented, and running behind the schedule Iran is setting. Whether it becomes never or finally depends on 2 engineering problems on opposite sides of the world, each moving as fast as it possibly can. Who do you think will win the race? Leave your take in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed it, please subscribe for more Mega Build stories. See you in the next one.